Who here saw Jennifer Hudson make her tribute to Whitney Houston 2 years ago at the Grammys? It's pretty awesome, wasn't it? However, the most memorable piece of that evening wasn't Jennifer Hudson, in my opinion, and a lot of others' opinions. It was Chipotle, because they played their Back to the Start video. Their video, it's a cute little story about a farmer and trying to keep his small business going and his sustainable business. And it kind of hit me that night that we as marketers, we're now in the content business and we can compete on a stage with somebody like Jennifer Hudson and actually be more memorable than Jennifer Hudson and something like that. So I know brands have been advertising and telling stories for a long time with commercials and ads, but now we're in the content development business. So we have the power to actually influence people beyond just advertising, which is pretty exciting. When it comes down to it, brains are, the way brains learn is through story. You know, we're steeped on story from the time we're small, right? So we're read bedtime stories, and that's how the brain learns, is through story. So what I've done is I've done some study on the brain and how story affects it and influences it, and the chemicals that are released when stories are passed through. So what I did was I built a model. I kind of put a filter through how the story is accepted by the brain, and really a story is nothing more than going from what is to what could be. That's the only thing a story is. But you have to do it in a way that influences emotion. It's not a straight line, it's kind of a wavy line, which you'll see in a second. So the first thing is we need to envelop empathy with our audience, with our customer. So you have to have conflict. Remember the Mac and PC ads from a few years ago? It's not just about the hero, you have to have a villain to go along with it. So what is the conflict in your brand? What is the conflict that your customer is going through? What is the emotion they're going through? So you can figure out how to overcome it, right? So the brain, when they're accepting a story, they're looking at overcoming. You as a brand are looking at this and saying, yeah, we're about overcoming these obstacles. And the brain is saying, yeah, I'm with you. The brain is singing. They're like, yeah, I get it. However, all of a sudden, it drops off, right? So there's a monkey wrench in the works. The thing that your brain says now it's on the edge of its seat. Your brain is like, all right, we really need to figure this out. Because I thought we knew where we were going. I thought we were going here. But now I don't know. I'm not sure where we're going. So there's got to be something called an unexpected outcome to be able to get to what could be. And the unexpected outcome is something that the brain wants to remember, because the brain likes to be right. And when it's not right, it wants to remember it. So dopamine is flowing, it says, all right, this was unexpected. And now is when you have a great chance as a brand marketer to imprint your brand on the brain of the prospect. So Adweek came out with a top 10 videos of 2014 a couple months ago, so far, top 10 so far. And I took all top 10 and I analyzed all 10. All 10 used this model in one shape or form. So this is the way that big brands are telling stories today. So the brain wants to complete the story, even if it has partial information. Ever since this slide came up, your brain has been figuring out who this is. Who is it? Is it a homeless person? Is it a musician? Is it Keith Richards? Some of you guys don't even know who Keith Richards is. That's a little scary. But the whole idea is to complete a story. Once your story is complete, it's our job as marketers is to figure out how to bring our consumer back to the story, back to the brand. Anybody can tell a really good story once. How do you bring them back? Oreo has done a great job of this, right? Craving and getting people back involved with the story. So everybody knows the campaign that Oreo Daily Twist, I think it was called. So for 100 days they had a graphic, and this was Elvis Week. So the whole idea is your brain sees this and says, oh, that's an interesting thing. I wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. I wonder what they're going to do tomorrow. And of course, TV has caught on to this whole thing, right? So it's all about intrigue and satiate. Every episode's about intrigue and satiate, but then there's this underlying curiosity about what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. So when they released this season 2 on Friday, my wife and I had finished it on Sunday. That's called binging. So then we've got, of course, How I Met Your Mother. And the whole curiosity theme is in the darn title of the show, How I Met Your Mother. So every show, again, it's about intrigue and satiate. before you get, obviously, to the curiosity that keeps you tuned in. So, is video and commercials and television the only way to tell a story? The answer is no! There's other ways to tell a story, like product design. Steve Jobs said, I want to develop buttons that look so appealing that you want to lick them. So you can tell a really good, compelling story using curiosity through product design. Also use service. Zappos is a great example of that, right? So Zappos is about extraordinary, over and above, over-the-top service. So your customers and marketers are always thinking to ourselves, how are they going to outdo themselves this time? Again, it keeps us curious, keeps us coming back for more. And then, of course, we've got the retail experience. So what is it about the retail? So this is the Story Store, which changes the whole store every 4 to 6 weeks. They change the theme, they change the content, they change the products. What a great way to keep your customers coming back every 4 to 6 weeks for more to see what you're going to do next. So here's the tweetable moment of the day, right? So habitual brands appeal to one's curiosity through story. So that's really what we're talking about here. How do we get people involved? It's really knowing the brain chemistry, how things work, so that we can appeal to consumers in a way that keeps them coming back for more. And again, we as marketers are very powerful. We have the ability to compete with somebody like Jennifer Hudson, and we can actually upstage Jennifer Hudson with a burrito. Thank you.